This was an unprecedented massacre in the history of the ocean. Seabirds that covered the sky and sun bombarded the ocean from high altitude like cannonballs. This was also an organized and premeditated hunting operation. The three parties of sea, land and air corps hunters came out in full force and jointly staged a thrilling ocean doomsday spectacle. In late spring and summer solstice, on the southern coast of Newfoundland in North America, sea ducks came to the coast early to build nests and hatch eggs. Seagulls followed closely behind, closely watching every move in the ocean. At the same time, on the side of the ridge, millions of puffins were ready to take off at any time. The gulls also came from far away Europe and eastern Canada. At this time, all the ground predators had assembled. On the sea surface 500 kilometers away, tens of thousands of dolphins came on huge waves and headed straight for the coast. Behind them, thousands of sea lions jumped into the sea and advanced towards the coast. Tuna were also not to be outdone. They shuttled through the ocean like lightning. The last to arrive were the broken-head gold legion, which was 3,000 kilometers away. With the arrival of this ocean giant, the martyrs from the sea, land and air were all in place. The reason these creatures gathered together was to prey on dozens of silver carps hidden in the kelp. Each female carp carries 15,000 eggs, and they all bear the heavy responsibility of reproduction. Unlike other fish, carps must lay eggs on the sand, but in front of countless martyrs. This is undoubtedly a road of no return. When the carp school surged out of the deep sea like a torrent, the hungry humpback whale took the lead in blowing the horn of attack. And the battle was about to break out. Facing this marine giant, the weak carp had no power to resist. The humpback whale can swallow 5,000 carps in one bite. Although it is insignificant for dozens of carps, they are not willing to stop here before completing their reproductive mission. The school of fish swam desperately towards the coast. However, just as they left the tiger's den, they entered the wolf's den. Tens of thousands of dolphins followed closely behind and began to hunt the hairy carp again. In this life and death contest, billions of hairy carp moved closer to their partners, forming a huge sphere. All male fish were outside the sphere, swearing to protect this fish to the death. This was their unchanging belief. At this time, the sea lions began to launch a surprise attack, and the hairy carp fell into a brief chaos, and their formation became loose. But before other predators could react, the hairy carp group quickly restored their formation and protected the fish again. Seeing that the dolphins and sea lions could not disrupt the rhythm of the hairy carp, other marine creatures could not wait. Sharks, tuna, and manta rays took turns to appear. These former natural enemies were almost defeated and jointly encircled and suppressed the hairy carp. Even if the hairy carp tried their best to dodge and avoid, they were gradually forced into a desperate situation by these ocean overlords. After this battle, the fish suffered heavy casualties, and millions of hairy carps were eaten by predators. However, this encirclement and suppression operation was not over. When the hairy carps were driven to the shallows, the predators on the coast had already landed at the airport. A large number of seabirds and puffins quickly took off and flew towards the shallows. Tens of thousands of sky predators in front of the city bombarded the hairy carps accurately like cannonballs, and they could catch a hairy carp every time they dived into the sea. After one round, tens of thousands of hairy carps became food. In just 30 minutes, the size of the fish school was reduced by hundreds of thousands. In the end, with the help of the waves, the surviving hairy carps rushed to the coast, turning the entire coast into silver white in an instant. The male hairy carps were still in the front, but the seagulls gathered on the coast had been waiting for a long time, and even foxes came to the shore to enjoy this feast that was at their fingertips. The female fish will take advantage of the gap when the predator is attracted by the male fish to quickly shovel out the eggs in her body. while the male fish will try to get close to the female fish and fertilize the eggs before being eaten. In a short period of time, the entire coast is covered with crystal clear fertilized eggs. And about 2 weeks later, the fertilized eggs will hatch. Under the influence of the waves, most of the female fish and young fish will follow the waves back to the sea, while the male fish are almost completely lost. For the smooth birth of the children, after the male carp paid a very tragic price, the battle to capture the carp from all sides came to an end.